Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and who is ready for a bullish XRP video? You are. Check out this title. And so actually, let me say this first. I put out a video fairly recently, and I don't know if it was 1 or 2 days ago, I think, about a cryptocurrency chart analyst named Nicholas Merton, who runs a YouTube channel called DataDash, which is the most popular cryptocurrency channel on all of YouTube with 323,000 subscribers. Seems like a real nice guy. He doesn't trash projects, but he is not a fan of Ripple, and he is not a fan of XRP. And he says for fundamental reasons. All right, and I cited all that in the last video, but I just want to get out of the way because not everybody watches everything I put out there. Okay, still like the guy. And this is him right here. And on Twitter, he's got 48,500 followers. So anyway, he has been saying some incredibly bullish stuff about XRP because as it pertains to his chart analysis, he's leaving emotion out of it, and he's just looking at the charts and being honest about what he's seen. And he says that things are about to get explosive. He cites that XRP has led the market in the past. He says that XRP, of course, has gone parabolic at times, and that history is likely to repeat itself. So I'm going to give you all the details, tell you everything that he thinks as far as why that's happening. And he thinks that literally right now, altcoin season has already begun. So Bitcoin dominance should be going down, altcoin dominance going up, and XRP could be leading all of this. So I'm going to get into that. I'm going to share with you a few tweets from another XRP community member, chart analyst, after that. And then I'll wrap up the video by sharing part of this article. Definitely too long to share the whole thing, but it's interesting. It's titled, Veteran Crypto and Stocks Trader Shares 6 Ways to Invest and Get Rich. Now, before we get rolling here, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel so that we can be friends. So the piece begins. Crypto analyst Nicholas Merton says he thinks a new altcoin cycle is underway. And by the way, this video that's being referenced here, this is from today. Like, I checked and I watched it, not the whole thing, but I watched it before recording this. And it was just released like 8 hours ago. So this is brand new stuff here. So anyway, he thinks that a new altcoin cycle is underway. On the latest episode of DataDash, Merton says altcoins with strong use cases and adoption are beginning to slowly eat into Bitcoin's market share. He points to Ethereum and XRP as 2 coins leading the way. Now here's a quote from Nicholas Merton. We've had enough lower highs and lower lows here to signify that we're going to see a growth in altcoin dominance and a likely decline in Bitcoin dominance to follow that. And we're seeing other coins continuing to rise. Ethereum getting serious dominance as well as XRP. Is there much big news? No. Could it just be simply that altcoins are a tad bit oversold at this point? Pretty much likely. And I think as we go throughout the year, there's going to be a lot of exciting things happening from Ethereum with DeFi and all these other altcoin projects. The ones that have stuck around and actually built something, they are the few from the masses that have probably gone off and died. But there are going to be some projects that actually stick around and produce something. Okay, and so I want to say right here, even though Nicholas Merton, like I said, he's absolutely fundamentally against Ripple and XRP, specifically because he's just an anti-bank type of guy. He just has a different view, and I'm happy to have a gentleman's disagreement. I still respect him. I just think that it's not a reasonable point of view. And so that's why what he says here about projects sticking around that actually do something, that is spot on. Those are the cryptocurrencies that will have staying power, and that's why I could not be more bullish about XRP. It's getting used today. It's the only cryptocurrency that's being used in the commercial production of anything. Anyway, Merton warns he could be wrong and says anything can happen in the extremely risky and notoriously volatile world of crypto assets. If past his prologue, he says XRP has the potential to be explosive, while Ethereum builds its reputation as the main platform powering the growing decentralized finance, which is DeFi, movement. And so here's another quote from him. It looks like ETH is set to break out here past this resistance range, and when it does, a lot of people have been talking that this is going to be a really big rally, that we might get one of these pop-ups that we saw back here in May of 2019. Who knows? I don't want to sit here and tell you what's going to happen, but this is the range that I look to add into altcoin positions. This thing has been a bloody sell-off, and most altcoins have, but Ethereum has actually got a lot of fundamental developments going on for it. Study the DeFi movement. We're studying a general third higher low here for XRP since the start of 2017. We've been generally setting the range here for XRP where we've been sitting higher lows every time in Bitcoin comparative. But also, when we squeeze, we get slightly lower highs here compared to Bitcoin during these spikes. Slightly lower than the previous ones. But check this part out though. Here's the rest of the quote from Nicholas Burton. But we know XRP is a momentum play. You could actually use XRP in a way to determine altcoin cycles and risk-taking in markets. And we've had some very parabolic rallies in the past. Probably likely that history is going to repeat itself, and on that front, I could not agree more. Now, since I'm not a chart analyst, I never put a timestamp on this stuff, but absolutely I think history is going to repeat itself. And as we sit here today, the market cap for crypto, $222 billion, Bitcoin's at $8,188, XRP is at 27.65 cents, but it did, within the last 24 hours, it breached 28 cents, a high of 28.29 cents, so get up there, and I know we're just talking about pennies here, but hey, XRP did yesterday lead the market in this rally that we've been seeing. It moved. Bitcoin followed XRP. Coolest thing on the frickin' planet. Now check this out. Here's a XRP community member. I just want to share a few tweets from him. I enjoy following him. His name's Patty Stash. He's at Patty Stash on Twitter. He wrote, alts have been gaining dominance for the past 5 weeks. No real crazy moves yet. It's going to start slow, as I've been saying all this time, and pick up momentum. So he's been very bullish on the concept of an altcoin season coming. And he's talked a lot about in terms of Bitcoin dominance historically. If you just look over the last 5 years, what has happened every single time Bitcoin dominance has gotten to this type of level, because I think today it's at 66%, but I mean, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 70% not too long ago. But it's apparently beginning to decline as altcoin seems to pick up, just all altcoins collectively just picking up more dominance. So there's that. Here's another tweet from Patty Stash. Just a quick intraday chart, 15-minute here for ETH. Setting up similar to late yesterday, in my opinion. It breaks the red line again and pumps back to 185 beyond, then to $225 and beyond, in my opinion. And again, that's Ethereum. And then he writes, XRP is going to be the big mover, though, that kicks alts off. So he thinks XRP is going to be the one that really gets all this ramping up here. Perhaps parabolically, we'll see. And then last tweet from Patty Stash here. Steam chart very similar to XRP now. It's literally sitting right on major resistance. I love seeing this because it shows so many charts literally about to break out. Once they do, the whole market will rally, alts that is. So there you go. So that's two chart analysts, one in the XP community. Both believe that alt season is either here or it's coming. All right. And I will say this, since I'm not a chart analyst and I don't make price predictions, I just like to cover the sentiments that are out there, cover XRP news, all that good stuff. What I'm seeing from most of the chart analysts that are in crypto media or on Twitter that I keep following, the majority of them seem to buy into the concept that there will be an alt season. So take that for what it's worth. Not everybody agrees, and I don't know what's going to happen, but most seem to share that sentiment. All right, now into this last piece. Veteran crypto and stocks trader share 6 ways to invest and get rich. And if you have the time, you should read through this whole thing. I'm just going to cover a few select parts of it, but definitely fascinating here. So the piece begins. 2 of the most frequent questions that I get from people in the crypto community are, what do you invest in, and what are the best investing strategies? As a general rule, the best investment strategy focuses on maximizing gains while minimizing risk. Historically, the best assets that fit this profile have been stocks, bonds, and real estate. A well-balanced portfolio should have an allocation of all 3, which is where I am most heavily invested. And by the way, I will say this, and I've mentioned this on the channel before, as far as investments, I only put money into XRP that I'm willing to lose. But in terms of like retirement strategies for finance, I'm not going to get into it. But I will say I agree conceptually with what was stated there, and I like traditional means. I understand that the returns won't be as asymmetrically positive as crypto. And even though I am Mr. XRP bull, I want to be able to sleep at night. So I'm really, in terms of investment, I'm all about investing responsibly and in traditional proven methods. But crypto's more fun, let's be real. So I do put some money into it, but you do what you want. Anyway, the piece continues, every investment strategy should always have a long-term horizon, and investors that begin putting money away in their 20s have an exponential advantage over those who begin to save later. Furthermore, investing money that is not needed to cover expenses and leaving it in the market for as long as possible is the primary method for accruing wealth faster than any other single strategy. Ultimately, this is the secret to getting rich. To show how this works in reality, let's take a look at an easily achievable scenario. If a person invests $250 a month at an 8% average annual investment return, the following retirement outcomes are achieved. Check this out. And again, this is just $250 a month. So a person starting at age 25 will accumulate $878,000 by the time they're 65. And that's with just $250 a month, right? And that's why I've said this before. Anybody can be rich. You don't have to make a ton of money every year to become rich. You just have to not spend it. You need to invest, and you can be very, very wealthy. Anyway, so if you're 35, you start saving at 35, you'll accumulate $375,000 by the age of 65. If you start at age 45, you'll accumulate $148,000 by the age of 65. Oh, yes, the majesty that is compound interest. And he writes, as you can see, an investor who begins putting money away at 25 will end up with roughly 7 times as much money at age 65 as an investor who begins at age 45. This is a result of compound interest and the key to successful long-term investing. Now, of course, that said, it's never too late. Whatever your age is, save, okay? Plus, if you're able to save a lot more than $250, you can imagine what that would do even over a shorter period of time. So for me, I'm all about living beneath one's means. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of living beneath one's means, because for a person wired the way I am, I'm all about financial security. That's way more important to me than just having stuff. I mean, stuff can be fun, but I'm all about financial security. So check this out. I should jump down here. Yeah, I can only cover so much of this because I don't want the video to go too long, and this isn't the thrust of the video, so I don't want it to become this whole thing about investing and stuff. There was another spot that I wanted to cover. Where was it? It was about crypto. 25%. Oh, yeah, here we go. So, okay. So this is the part about crypto. I'll cover this, and then I'll wrap up the video. So where does crypto fit into an investor's profile? As a 42-year-old with children and an expensive life, I am only comfortable allocating 10% or less of my net worth into cryptocurrency. A more risk-averse investor would probably limit that to less than 5%, and it's likely that many in my age group would not be willing to put more than 1 to 2% of their money into such a risky asset class. That said, most of the people investing in cryptocurrency are millennials and can tolerate far more risk than me. I lost everything more than once in my 20s and was able to recover. For a younger investor that is passionate about the crypto space, a larger allocation of 25% could be justifiable. Man, that's a lot, though, 25%. Obviously, one should never be all in on any asset or asset class. So, take that for what it's worth. The 25% seems like a crazy amount to me. And it's interesting that it talks about how it's millennials investing. Let me tell you this. You want a little insider baseball? Because, I'm happy to be transparent on this. I mean, you might find it kind of interesting. But it's like, as a YouTube content creator, I can run, it's called YouTube Studio. It's a beta version of it that they're running. It's probably going to perpetually be in beta. But anyway, so all the information that you provide to YouTube, I don't get your personal information, of course not. But it has demographic information that it'll share with me. And what's fascinating to me, because they're talking about millennials investing here, you might find this fascinating, but the majority of people following, subscribing to my channel, they're older than me, and I'm 36 years old, and so there are plenty. It's probably about a third are I think pulling from memory, but I think age 25 to 34, I think it's a third of the subscribers, but everybody else, it's basically my age or older, which I just find fascinating, and so it's this isn't something that's just for millennials. It's more like there are savvy investors out there in all age groups. And again, from what I can see in XRP, it's mostly older than me. And, I'm not that young, but I'm not that old. I'm 36. But yeah, it's more like I just think there's savvy investors out there that have really if you're like me, when you came across XRP, you probably felt like you really found something special here, and the rest of the world doesn't know it, and it's that exciting. That's why it's so fun to follow all the developments on a daily basis. At least that's how I feel about it anyway. That's why this is my most favoritist hobby I've ever had. So anyway, I don't know, just thought I'd share a little something with you, but I better wrap up the video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say, all right. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!